Hello and welcome to the class. So today in the subject secondary or senior secondary education, we are going to study importance of social science subject as per NCF 2005. In the last classes, we have discussed about the science subject. Now we are going to discuss about the social science subject. So the learning objectives for today's class will be to understand the aims of social science education at different stages of school teaching, also to comprehend the concept and nature and scope of social science, to acknowledge the importance of social science subject in school curriculum, and also to identify the goals and objectives of teaching social science subject in school. So let us take a look at the concept of social science first. The social sciences encompass diverse concerns of society, as the name suggests, social science, and include a wide range of content drawn from the disciplines like history, geography, political science, economics, and sociology. So, all these disciplines combinedly are known as social sciences. Social science, if we see in broadest sense, is the study of society and the manner in which people behave and influence the world around us. So basically, social science tells us about the world beyond our immediate experience, and it will also explain how the society works, various kinds of causes of unemployment, what helps in the economic growth, how and why people vote, what is the voting behavior of the people, how our country can be converted into a welfare state. So different topics are covered here. It provides vital information for governments and policymakers, local authorities, non governmental organizations, NGOs, and others. So, whatever is happening in our society with the help of any social or political institutions, historical facts, everything is included in social science. So, let us take a look at a few definitions of social science so that we can understand the concept in better way. John U. Michaelis says, it is the study of man and his interaction with his social and physical environments in the past, present, and emerging future. So, social science basically, we can figure out from this definition that it is a study of man and also the interaction of the man with his social and physical environment, which were in the past, which are in the present, and which are going to be in the emerging future. NCERT whereas says that social studies is concerned with people and their interaction with social and physical environment. So again, the same thing is repeated by NCERT, that it is concerned with the people living in the society, and whatever they interact with the social and physical environment around them is social studies or social science. The term social studies is used to designate school subjects which deals with human relationships. So our relationship within society, with other societies, in the global context, whatever affects us in the form of economy, history, civics, or any other kind, is all comes under, can be covered under the social studies. So main features, what came out of these definitions is that it is an integrated approach. Here we know that social science is an integrated subject of few subjects, like few disciplines like history, geography, political science, and economics. So basically, it is a study of human relations. It is a study of human life. It advanced studies of human society. So all the things which we are seeing is associated with humans. It is a study of man-made institutions, whichever is prepared by man, whichever is constructed by man, like family, marriage system, or any other political systems, political parties. Social studies stress more on contemporary human life and also problems that the past history of man had. It also aims at enabling students to adjust to their socio-cultural environment, which includes family, community, state, nation, and at large, the entire humanity. So let us take a look at the historical background, how this subject has come into existence. It was not earlier social studies actually. The widespread use of social studies started in America since 1916. Uh, there was a report that was prepared by Committee on the Social Studies of the National Education Commission on the reorganization of secondary education. So National Council was formed in 1921 for the detailed study of this. Social Studies Commission was formed in 1934. And if we talk about the advent of social studies subject in India, so it can be traced back to the formulation of Gandhiji's basic education formula in 1937, which he declared at a place called Wardha in Gujarat. So social studies is a single and a composite instructional area which draws its contents from various disciplines which are integrated into the subject, that is history, geography, political science, economics, etc. So it has a very wide scope actually because there are various disciplines in social science. So it is very lengthy. If we take a look at the history of man also, it is a wide subject. So the breadth of social studies, according to Michaelis, should provide for a variety of experiences so that the child's learning will be well-rounded and well-balanced. So the main points which are covered in the scope of social studies are: it is vast and wide as the world. It is as wide as the world, as long as the world. So it is basically the study of human relationships. Now, how it is associated with the humans, like people and their nationality and the people across the world. People and their relation with various kinds of institutions of society, people and the earth, people and time, people and the various resources, natural resources which are naturally available, or the man-made resources. So all these are affecting human beings, and all these are covered within the scope. It is a functional study of natural and physical sciences and fine arts. Social science, natural science, physical science, they all are interrelated. So they are different disciplines, but they can be interrelated with social science also. So here, not only we learn the past, but also we study the current affairs. It also leads not only to the national understanding, but also to the international understanding and understanding the international affairs. It is a practical study of various resources. So after dealing with the scope, now we discuss the aims and purpose of social studies. So the main goal, the main aim is of teaching social science is to teach students to become good citizens. As we are living in a diverse society, so we require a detailed study, detailed knowledge of social studies if we want to succeed in our future life. So with this background, children become adults that can participate in the society in a civilized way in our democratic society. So if we take a look at the 21st century needs, so social studies connect students with the real world, because the real world is the society around them. So in today's interconnected world, students must be prepared to interact with people of all cultures, communities. So social studies is a subject which prepares them for it in their future life. So it is very important part of our school curriculum. We cannot continue with our school curriculum without the subject social science. So students must study how society works and how people work in a society in order for it all to work once they enter society after completing their studies. Social science teaches us citizen responsibilities and values. Now, how can we expect young people to contribute positively to society, engage in every activity, to thrive properly in a democratic society if they are not exposed to the problems, issues, aspects of the society, of the history, how the society has been made? So students need an understanding of all the areas, history, political science, culture, and all humanities to be able to understand why it is important to be a good citizen. Then the students need to develop a cultural understanding. Students should be exposed to cultures. As we can see, the India is a multicultural society, so they need to know what kind of cultures are existing in our society. Not every student has the opportunity to interact with other cultures on a daily basis. So this is a chance in which they are able to deal with, interact with the cultures, customs, traditions, which are existing in various parts of our country. So we need our students to learn about, understand, and also to learn appreciate cultural differences if we expect them to have meaningful interactions with people of all backgrounds in the future. Also, the economic education is necessary for the students. It is a crucial part of social studies, whether studied on its own or as a part of history or political science, because economics can be studied in these two disciplines also. So, by learning economics, the young people understand how their financial decisions have an impact on their future as well as the future of the society. Critical thinking aspects is the very important part which we want every subject to develop in our students. So it is also a part of social science. Through this, the students are taught to evaluate others' decisions, make connections between influences and circumstances. They understand various contexts. They understand the various crises present in our society. So young people get the opportunity to learn from others' mistakes through social sciences. It also provides the real world understanding. Studying social sciences gives our students an understanding of the real world which is present around them. Students learn about places, cultures, events around the world, what conspired to make them the way they are, how they evolved as a human being. They will be able to draw out the conferences, various inferences about how the rest of the world works. So they will be able to focus on the factual problems. Then political skills are also developed in the students. So from this subject, students learn about government, political ideas, how the country is functioning, the economy, the resources available. So they gain political skills by analyzing and evaluating existing system and imaging the future of the world in which they live. They learn to respect history because history is what made the world the way it is. And it is very essential for people to study it in order to have an appreciation and understanding for how the current institutions, the present institutions have evolved. So learning about history, it's what makes it possible to learn from the past and plan for the future. So, as we have understood that social science as a subject is very important for students in a school. Now, why it is important for students? What kind of skills it will develop in our students by studying social science? What skills are developed in our 21st century students? So, they will learn better reading and learning. They will try to adopt social studies as one area in education where content integration is the key. So students are given reading material that corresponds with the current learning topics. So it is a very contemporary subject. We have to be abreast with not only the national issues and also the international issues. So it is a very a current subject. It gives reading materials in context. It helps students become better readers because after reading only they will be able to develop various skills among them. They also become better learners because they are asked to use analysis, do critical thinking. They are also asked to prepare reports, write what they have understand. It also enables students to appreciate India's rich culture and heritage. It builds intelligent democratic citizenship among the students. It helps the students to gain insight into spiritual, economic, and political values. And it also helps them to build the social competence. Now, the National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2000 has discussed the need for the social science curriculum to be comprehensive, but it should not be loaded with extra and very much information. So we can say that need for ideas should be interrelated. It should not be overloaded, but the ideas could be interrelated through the selection of particular themes or issues, stating these themes, how the NCF 2000 put into the words on page number 63, that these themes may be drawn from geography, history, civics, economics, and sociology in a balanced manner and suitably graded from simple to complex and immediate to remote. So this is how they wanted that the subject is very comprehensive, but the themes should be interrelated, the disciplines should be interrelated. The current social science textbooks have made an attempt to establish the interrelatedness among subject areas wherever possible. If we take a look at the NCERT books these days or the social science textbooks, you can make out the difference that various attempts has been taken place already on the basis of the recommendations given by NCF 2005. So accordingly, there is only one textbook for social science for each class. That is from classes 6 to 10th. This we have discussed earlier that from classes 1st to 5th, there will be only one book. The subjects social science and science will be integrated, and it will be known as the environmental science. So how NCF 2005 looks into social science curriculum, what kind of changes should be there, and what was earlier that was not possible in the curriculum, what was lacking in the curriculum. So if we talk about today's neoliberal India, the subjects that comprise the social sciences are considered inadequate for securing employment. So this is the reason why many of the students do not pursue social sciences in higher education, because in the current world, it is not giving any employments to them just by reading social science. So they felt the need to first discuss existing perceptions of the social sciences among the larger community, and then they moved on to prepare a national curriculum framework for that. So to ensure that the curricular recommendations are adequately translated into textbooks, the National Focus Group highlighted the main issues which need to be addressed while preparing the curriculum and the textbooks of social sciences, so that it can become an intellectual and professionally valuable subject for study. So we need to understand the importance of this subject. What were the prevailing perceptions of the social sciences? When the national focus groups find out that what are the prevailing perceptions, these are as below. The popular perception of social science is that it is a non-utility subject. It was not an important subject to be studied. So there was a low self-esteem governed in the classroom, not only from the side of the teacher, but the teachers and students both feel uninterested and just thought that it is a subject which need to be covered. They didn't understand the importance why this subject is necessary to be taught. So from the initial stages of schooling, it is often suggested to students that the brilliant students, the bright students need to take the natural sciences. They are superior, and the social sciences are not for the bright students. So therefore, there was a need to emphasize that the social sciences are essential to provide social, cultural, and analytical skills, which are required to adjust to an increasingly independent, interdependent world, and to also deal with all kind of political, economic, social realities. There was also widespread belief that the information which is being transmitted through the textbooks is only too centered on the conceptual knowledge and only for the purpose of examinations. So the content of these textbooks is considered to be unconnected to daily realities, as we try to do in science subject, but it was not considered important in social science subject. Social science was also viewed as providing unnecessary details about the past. So the students and teachers and all the stakeholders of education believe that unnecessary details are given in the textbooks. So it is also felt that the examination paper only gives rewards the memorization of these superfluous facts, with the children's conceptual understanding being largely ignored. So it was this subject is only was only taught for the examination purpose, and any effort to address the information overload in the social sciences will simultaneously have to review the current examination system. So not only the textbooks, the curriculum need to be corrected, need to be reviewed, but also the current examination system also need to be reviewed, because the real problem with our educational system is that it tests memorization skills and not any learning part or not any intelligence. So we are preparing only the machines, not the human beings, not the emotions are being catered to. So we are totally neglecting the affective domain. So there was also a perception that not many desirable job options are open to students who specialize in social sciences. So mainly social science subject deprives the students of the skills which are required to function in the real world. So this all created an impression of the subject that it is useless in our school curriculum. So it is very important to reinstate the importance of the social sciences by not only highlighting their relevance for jobs in today's world, but also by pointing to their indispensability in laying the foundations of an analytical and creative mind. Children considered it boring, but we need to make it interesting. So aside from factual information, some real information need to be given, which are the real world information. So what issues need to be addressed as discussed by NCF 2005 is to do away with the content load. It was curriculum overload, too many topics included. The National Focus Group endorsed the point made by Yashpal Committee as well as by the National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2000, that we should try to minimize the emphasis on retention of information without comprehension. So it should not be inflicted on the students. It should only be the factual information which is important for them to be given. Syllabus framers and textbook writers need to choose what to include from a mass of relevant information. See, there is much of information available, but the curriculum framework experts need to find out what is the relevant information. So the effort should not be to convey as many as facts as possible, but there should be a focus on concepts and the ability to analyze socio-political realities. So it is very difficult. The students and the teachers find it very difficult. They feel heavy course load on them, and they are not able to give seriousness to this subject. Then the next issue which need to be considered is the plurality and local content. So as we all know that India has a diverse society, a plural society. All regions and sub social groups should be included and given importance equally in the textbooks. So sometimes there is often impossible it is that the centralized nature of textbook production, that all are given equal status. So it is necessary to work towards this thing for the generation, for the knowledge generation, in which the teachers, students, local community, they all should be involved and feel empowered to bring in their own realities to the content of social science. So the teachers also have a part in transacting the curriculum, and they also need to contribute to it. So the relevant local content should be part of the teaching learning process. And ideally, it should be transacted through activities which are drawing on local teaching learning resources. Then the next issue is the scientific rigor. So it is often presumed that only natural sciences or the physical sciences can be taught using the scientific inquiry method. But if we look at our social science, here also human sciences, their nature is not scientific, but various kind of scientific inquiry techniques can be used while teaching it. So there should be importance given to social sciences. We should not imitate the methods which are used in other sciences, but we can adopt our own methods how to scientifically teach this subject. So it is necessary to recognize that the social sciences lend themselves to scientific inquiry just as much as the natural and physical sciences do. So here also there are various ways in which the methods employed by the social sciences are distinct, but they are not inferior to those of other sciences. So conclusions can be drawn here also. A hypothesis can be prepared in the form of questions. The data can also be collected. Various kinds of surveys can be done. A question can be highlighted. There could be an experiment which could be taken out. There could be findings for that. So we need to inculcate this scientific inquiry method in this subject also. And there are certain normative concerns, which is concerned with the values. So it is the popular base for human values: freedom, trust, mutual respect, and respect for diversity. So social science teaching should aim at investing in children a critical moral and mental energy, so that they can be made alert to the social forces that threaten these values. So through the discussion of concerns such as threats to the environment, caste or class inequality, or any kind of interdisciplinary approach, the textbook should try to stimulate the child thought process and try to involve or initiate the creativity part in him. So how interrelationship among disciplines can be maintained, established? The disciplines that make up the social sciences, as we all have discussed this, that is history, geography, political science, and economics. So they all have distinct methodologies. So that often justify the preservation of boundaries. And these boundaries of disciplines need to be opened up. So there should be a plurality of approaches applied to understand any given phenomena. So certain themes should facilitate interdisciplinary thinking that is required. These themes should be culturally relevant. And the concepts introduced bearing in mind the age of the child. So interrelationship does not mean that the teacher should do it for the mere formality. It should be done according to the needs and requirement of the students. So there is a need to select themes where different disciplinary approaches can facilitate an in-depth and multiple understanding. So we can interrelate, as we all can see various subjects here in a form of circle. They all can be interrelated. So this method need to be adopted. However, we don't force every teacher to discuss every theme or every concept in interdisciplinary manner, but wherever necessary, they can do so. So a careful selection of a few themes need to be made, as well as having separate chapters relating to different disciplines. So the interdisciplinary approach can be adopted to study one particular theme per year or semester. So a teacher can make use of these kind of approaches in interdisciplinary manner once a semester or once a year. So for example, if we talk about the institution of the Mandi, it could be used as one theme to make connections between various disciplines. So Mandi is a place where the buying and selling of the products of various rural areas is done, like the grains and other things. So how it is affecting the social factors, how it is affecting our political factors, or how it is affecting the economy or the rural or the urban areas. So how every kind of subject can be interrelated with one theme. So this will need very much pre-preparation by the student, by the teacher. So that this kind of theme can be taken every year by them. So there was a proposed epistemological frame given by NCF 2005 that how we can bring changes in the uh, thinking level of the curriculum. So for this, NFG proposes that the following points can be treated as basic for the new syllabi. As Kothari Commission has emphasized that India should not be seen simply in terms of developmentalist approach. As we all know that India is a developing country. So we try to show this only in the class, tell this only to the students. So the problem with this approach has been that it treated poverty, illiteracy, and casteism as obstacles to national progress and also ignored gender issues. So, along with the national perspective, the local needs should also be creatively balanced. So, in order to achieve balancing between the national and local, it is necessary to incorporate the local perceptions through which the people can relate themselves to the nation. And doing this will also ensure a much deeper and richer understanding of the nation. So, textbooks are always seen as the major source of knowledge, and this foreclosed any possibility of innovation by an active participation of the learners, both teachers and students. So, the textbook should be seen as opening up avenues for further inquiry. So the textbooks should develop a child's own context, which they are able to create on themselves. So this would encourage the learner to go beyond the textbook, go beyond the classroom for further reading, for going for the observations which ever they see around their society. NFG also suggested a change in nomenclature, as we know that the word political science was earlier not used for the subject discipline civics. So till 10th, the political science was known as civics, but the NFG suggested that the civics is not an appropriate word to be used in Indian school curriculum because it has an history related with the colonial period. So it should be changed to political science because political science is a wide concept and it suggests dynamism. So the civics, however, highlights the shortcomings of the personality in the Indian, the colonial civics. So this is the reason they propose that the nomenclature should be done, change in nomenclature. Then there are certain gender concerns and issues which need to be addressed within the social sciences, which is very important because sometimes we give examples of women in some areas as if there were little contribution by the women. So we should try to involve all the examples or try to find out why women were not included in certain events. For instance, in history, the discussion on women is often limited to including Rani Lakshmibai, Sarojini Naidu, and some others who were there part of the India's freedom struggle. But we should not genderize the curriculum. It should not be limited to increasing the number of references to individual women. Rather, what is crucial is the need to make the perspectives of women integral to the discussion of any historical event and contemporary concerns. So, this shift requires an shift from the patriarchal frame where the male is the head, within which social studies is currently conceptualized. So in the textbooks also there was a controversies that certain pictures are shown, certain examples are given, which leads to gender biases, gender roles, stereotyping, because certain roles are assigned to women and certain roles are assigned to men. So who teaches them? Who has created it? Who has distributed the roles? There is no answer. But as the society has circulated this, so we are also, as a teacher, we are also doing this with our students. We are teaching them that the girls are meant to work out the household chores, and the men are meant to go out and do the work. So this is how the things need to be changed, need to be brought about changes in our society, in our textbooks. So with this, we come to the end of the various points which we discussed today regarding the textbooks, regarding the popular perceptions which were given for the social science, as the national focus groups prepared reports regarding that. And also we found out that how social science can be changed through the mindset of our class, of our future citizens, and also the teachers also need to take some initiative regarding that. So they need to encourage children to form their own options. They need to encourage their students to find out things which are not right in their environment, in their society around them. So if you want to know more, you can go through various references here. You can go through NCERT, on which on its website various reports by focus group is given. You can go through the National Open School reports regarding the social science curriculum, and you can also have a look at few videos which have been mentioned in the references. Now we will discuss the evaluation questions. So the question one is, dash deals with the ways in which men and societies seek to satisfy their material needs and desires. So as by the statement we can figure out that what kind of subject deals with this, but still we are going through the options, that is social science, earth science, statistics, or mathematics. So the correct answer is social science, because it is the only subject which deals with the human beings, their society, and how they satisfy their material needs and desires to survive in this society. Then the question two is, study of the earth and its lands, features, inhabitants, and phenomena is. So this we know that there are 4 disciplines in social science subject, and every discipline has a different nature and quality. So which kind of discipline mentions the study of earth and all? So the options are history, geography, civics, and psychology. So here we can clearly figure out that the answer is geography. So in geography, we do the detailed study regarding the earth, various kinds of landforms, its features, how human beings have relationship with earth and its features, how we are inhabiting the earth, and the related phenomena which are available around us. Question number 3 is, family has been recognized as a basic unit of dash and is a link between individual and community. So family has been recognized as the basic unit of, the options are planets, plants, society, or environment. So family is obviously a basic unit of society, and it is the link between individual and community. Question number 4 is, following is one of the dangers towards the national integration of the country. As we have discussed that there are various issues in our country, as our country is democratic, and there are certain issues which are prevalent in our society from older times, and some are due to political situations or countries. So what are the dangers for that national, for which are posing threat to our national integration? The options are casteism, family, vaccination, or education. So the dangers are, the answer is casteism. There is linguism, casteism, regionalism, everything. These kinds of terrorism, Naxalism, there are various kinds of issues which are posing danger to our democratic country, which are posing danger to our national integration. So these all need to be dealt with in this subject, and the students need to understand what is right and wrong. They need to develop a critical thinking in their minds regarding these issues. The next question is, social and civic sense is generated amongst the students through the study of. The options are chemistry, political science, economics, or technology. So the chemistry subject is a physical science, natural science subject. Then there is a political science, which was earlier known as civics. Then there is economics, which deals with the economic issues. And then there is technology, so through which we are not going to develop social and civic sense. So obviously the answer is political science or the civics, through which a student is taught how to become a good citizen. They are made aware of the various kinds of governments around them, the national, local, international level, and they have to know how to behave in a society. So the social and civic sense is generated through the subject political science. Now, the question number 6, which of the following issues was not addressed by NCF 2005 for social science curriculum? So we discussed various issues which were addressed by NCF 2005, which were required to deal with social science curriculum. The options are content load, normative concerns, scientific rigor, or the natural problem. So the correct answer is natural problem. Obviously, we discussed the 4 issues: the content load, the normative concerns, the scientific rigor. So natural problem was not one of them. And these concerns are addressed as we need to bring some changes in our textbooks, in our curriculum for social science, in the way of teaching social science. So these concerns was raised so that we can bring changes in through these concerns. Question number 7 says, in India, social studies can be traced back to the formulation of Gandhiji's dash in 1937. The options are basic education, white education, non-formal education, or formal education. So as we have discussed that regarding the background of social studies subject, it was not earlier called so. It arose in 1916 in America, and after that later in 1937 it's reached to India as a part of our curriculum. And Gandhiji prepared a rule, a basic kind of education. So the correct answer is basic education. He gave this kind of education so that the students learn by earning also. They learn the vocational courses. And here the need of social studies was also considered. So he gave this concept in Wardha in Gujarat. The next question is, the widespread use of social studies started in dash since 1916. So this we have discussed earlier, but still the options are Germany, America, Italy, or France. So in America, various committees and commissions were formed, and there was a need to make, after the World War, there was a need that the students, the classrooms should be made aware of the problems which are arising in our society due to these kinds of conflicts. So they should know what are the harms, how we could prosper, how we could make solve the problems which are occurring in our societies. So how we can appreciate the values. So for this, the subject social studies were integrated, and there were various disciplines which were to be dealt in this subject. Question number 9 says, which of the following is the nature of social science? The options are environmental study, core curriculum, it is not suitable for students, or the study of human relationships. So the answer is the study of human relationships. If we talk about the nature of social science, it is all about regarding the humans, their behavior, their interaction with society. So it is the study of human relationships. Question number 10 says, which of the following is not the social issue in India? So this we have discussed that there are various issues in India, and we have to find out which is not the social issue which is prevalent in India. So the options are caste system, poverty, child labor, child marriage, or constitution. So obviously the above 4 are the social issues which are imbibed in our society, and still we are struggling to remove these ill practices. And the option E, constitution, is not an social issue. It is a political document which have been given to us as a citizen, so that the laws can be made, a direction can be taken from this constitution of our country. So with this, we come to the end of the class today. Thank you very much.